Hey guys, Brian here with Wolf's Prairie Outdoors. Thanks for stopping by for the third installment in our defensive lever gun series. Today we're going to head back out to CNC Indoor Range and meet up with Clint Upchurch again. He's a former pro shooter, if you guys didn't know, and he really knows his stuff. He's run a lot of different scenarios over the years, and as well as some night shooting, and he's got some great insight when it comes to weapon lights and different setups. So he's actually going to bring some of his own stuff out as well. So it's a good opportunity to see what somebody who is a pro shooter would pick to use, and definitely an eye-opening experience for me. We're going to be showing off the Surefire X300, Streamlight TLR1 HL, a Surefire Scout Pro, and a Surefire Scout Pro Mini. Everything we're going to be running is between 500 and 1,000 lumens, and it's amazing the difference in quality and quantity of light you'll get, even with something that you're comparing 2 or 3 lights that are all 1,000 lumens. It's amazing the difference in light that you'll get. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's head out to the range. This series is brought to you by Ranger Point Precision, Hornady Ammunition, and Big Daddy Unlimited. We're back with Clint today, former competitive pro shooter, and we're looking at weapon lights. So we're looking at a variety of options, mounting options, and different types of lights, and the throw you're going to get from those lights, which is going to either, I think, blind the person more or put a hot spot on the wall if you happen to spot the wall, and it's going to bounce back in your face. It's going to make a variation in what you're going to experience at night when you're shooting indoors. It can be a big difference, I think.
For sure.
So up first, we've got Surefire X300 on this 357 that Clint has. And one nice thing about this is it can be easily adapted to different weapons platforms. It's actually a pistol light, but it mounts to a pick rail, or you can change out the adapter on it, mount it to a Glock, or any other modality that's out there for mounting. And it's toolless. If you want to pop it off, it just quick and easy. You pull down on it, slide it off, really simple. So if you've got a handgun you carry around the property or around your house, but you want to put it on a gun like this, lever gun, AR, anything, it's really easy to do. It's a little more different to actuate because you've got that finger switch, so it's a little more controlled precision to actuate that, I think, than something like this that's just a push button. I think it's a good option if you can only have one light that can work across multiple platforms.
Yeah, for sure.
On the 3030, I've got the Surefire Scout Pro, and this is a really good light. It's super bright. It's thumb actuated. You can do momentary or you can do all on. And Clint has an option we're going to look at here in a minute that will really only work on the 357. You can't really mount a pressure pad on this. You can, but it's going to be single-sided. It's going to be more difficult to actuate if you are switching up left or right-handed. But let's switch out real quick, and we're going to show you what Clint has that works pretty well on an XS sight rail. So guys, what we have here is my Marlin 1894 CST with the factory XS sights rail. And as you can see, if you don't know, the rail is longer. It's meant to be able to use a scout scope on if you want to. Whereas the other rails I have are shorter rails meant for just the receiver. And by having a rail this long, it's kind of like an AR sense that you have pick rail running along the top of the barrel. And this is the longest rail you're going to find for a lever gun. Well, when you have this, it gives you that option for mounting a pressure pad on top so you can go ambidextrous left or right-handed actuation. So what light do we have on here, Clint?
This is a Mod Light PLH. Awesome lights. I've kind of become a big fan as of late. I think they're building some really good stuff. These actually run on their rechargeable batteries. Okay. It's a good battery setup, some things like that. There's a lot of modularity with their weapon lights, meaning the heads, you can choose some different heads that basically give a different spiel, if you will. That there's some differences in the heads, different tail caps. You got some options there. This one's actually using a Surefire tail cap.
Okay.
And as far as buttons and things like that, their hot button, if you want a momentary control versus a constant control, things like that, that work really well. And I think, for me, this is the most user-friendly thing that I have of all the stuff that I've tried, where I finally settled on this and said, this is really a good unit. It's easy to operate. It's out of the way. It's an awesome light. So it's, to me, the best all-around solution.
Yeah, and you guys might be thinking, well, it's in the way of your quiver on the side. But if you've guys seen my recent post on Instagram, Ranger Point Precision is coming out with a new modular buttstock that is going to adjust for cheek weld, and it also will have an M-lock mount so you can mount your quiver at the back. By doing this, you remove the quiver from the front, you've still got your extra rounds on the rifle to fight with, and you now have the ability to run a pressure pad unimpeded, and I think that's a really nice setup. And I tell you, I've never handled a mod light before. Looks like a super robust, very solid setup, something you could definitely count on.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do some shooting. We're going to cut the lights off behind us, and we'll engage Mario, our TAT 3D target. Awesome target for training guys. We're going to shoot that thing a few times and show you what these different lights look like under low light scenarios. And we'll just start off with the mod light since we got it on there already.
All right, that's
all right, let's do it.
Yeah, that's a good hot spot.
Yeah, I think that that mod light really helps isolate the target. You've got good surrounding light, but your target is definitely well lit.
Yeah, yeah, he's lit up. I mean, you can see, and even talking about the hot spot, I'm sorry, the spill around it. It's not crazy, but it's pretty intense down range.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
So guys, this is the Surefire X300, and as you guys can see, it's a good widespread, but it doesn't give you that hot spot in the middle, which you may or may not like. It doesn't isolate the target like the mod light does with that hot spot it had, that particular head. So, you're not going to get as much whitewash back in your face, I don't think, with this light. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely a lot of light down range. And the spill, you can see it's pretty intense on the target. There's definitely more spill, just surrounding it.
Yeah, it just kind of floods the whole area. So it gives you, I think, it might give you a little better perspective of what's going on around just that one person.
Yeah, possibly, for sure.
Alrighty.
Okay, let's give her a go.
Okay guys, next up we have the Streamlight TLR1 HL. This is also a 1,000 lumen light, and as you can see when you're looking downrange, this is nowhere near the coverage that we just had from that other 1,000 lumen light. Definitely a big difference, don't you think, Clint?
Yeah, for sure. You can definitely tell the hot spot's not quite as intense. The spill, not quite as much as we had on the Surefire. So it's a little different.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to give you less flashback in your face if you hit a wall, like a bright wall, but definitely not going to illuminate your target as well as the others. Definitely not going to blind them as much. All right, let's see how she runs. All right, guys, next up we've got the Surefire Scout Pro. This is a 1,000 lumen light, and as you can see, we've got a nice good spread and a bit more of a hot spot than the X300 and way more of a hot spot than the TLR1.
Yeah, you can definitely tell a little difference just from light to light, but this is still a lot of usable light, good light. One of the things I noticed too with these versus the pistol lights, just the ease of operation. These are a lot easier just on and off.
Yeah, that push button on the back makes a huge difference in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Okay, let's let them rip.
All right, guys, next up we have the Surefire Scout Pro Mini, and this is a 500 lumen light, and honestly, that looks about like the 1,000 lumen light from the Streamlight TLR1 HL. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, pretty similar. I can't tell a huge difference, just here without them actually being held side by side. I can't tell a lot of difference.
I think it's got a little bit more of a hot spot, but definitely brighter than that one. All right, let's see how she runs. All right, guys, that concludes this portion of the series. Hopefully you learned a little bit about weapon lights and seeing what they can do. And just for reference, we were at about 20 yards, a little bit longer than we've been doing, but we wanted to show you what the spread of these lights would be, because if you're super close, it's not going to be a huge difference. But when you start to reach out, you're definitely going to see some differences in these lights, and we saw that very evident. What would your ideal setup be out of these?
I think I lean more towards a pressure pad type activation. Maybe just because I'm more familiar with it, it just seems easier for me to operate. These, the kind of pistol mounted lights that we put on here, there's definitely more going on as far as just getting down there to turn it on, turn it off, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, smaller controls, harder to reach and manage. So from that aspect, I would rather have something that's a little more user-friendly. So I would prefer, you know, a click tail cap like on those models, or on the Mod Lite, something like that with a pressure pad. That would be my first pick. You know, at the end of the day, it's just like, hey, when you need it, you need it. Who cares what's on it? But you know, when you're talking about setting something up for you, you know, and what you can operate the most consistently, you know, and gives you the results you want, I think that's the best setup for me anyway.
And I think, you know, as you mentioned, after you shot the 4570 with the recoil, that light really dug into you.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. Again, that's a good point for a pressure pad. If you had the excess rail, you could put a pressure pad on here and you would eliminate that potentially.
Yeah.
At least mitigate it some. And I think after seeing you put the pressure pad on the excess sight rail, that looks like a really good setup. I think it was a great option, and by using Ranger Point's new buttstock, moving the quiver to the rear, that gives you more real estate to mount that, and then you can then operate the gun left or right-handed and have a pressure pad on there that is more universal and user-friendly. Gross motor skills in a high-intensity situation, I think that works out a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, like you say, operating the pistol light, it's an awkward position because it's not on a pistol. So you're having to actuate it with a finger that's already outstretched. It's not a gross motor skill, it's a fine motor skill. And in a tense situation, your adrenaline's pumping, there's a good chance you're going to mess up on that.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, you could experiment with possibly you know, different mounting locations, and maybe work around some of that. You know, with any of these setups for that matter. You know, and it would, you know, come down to the individual and their particular setup and
budget.
Yeah. There you go. So there's a lot of factors, and like I say, as long as when you need it, you've got something you can operate and it's dependable. That's what matters more than anything.
Yeah.
You know, so find what works best for you and what you're most comfortable with, and is repeatable. Let's say that, and you know, I think that's what you win with right there.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Basically, get out and shoot and know your gear.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, give us a big thumbs up for a like. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button to get notified when new videos come out. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Check back soon. We're going to be heading down to the Clinton house and doing some ballistics gel testing with Clear Ballistics. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Have a good one.